The Johnson family was excited as they packed their bags and jumped into their black SUV. This was their first vacation in a long time. "Florida, here we come," shouted Maya, the youngest daughter. Their parents, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, smiled from the front seats. As they drove through a small town in the south, they stopped at a gas station. Mrs. Johnson went inside to buy snacks while the kids played with the dog outside. A police car pulled up. Two white officers stepped out slowly. One whispered something to the other, pointing at the family. Mr. Johnson looked at them. But the officers didn't look happy. Instead, one of them said loudly, "Step away from the car." Jamal froze. "Why?" he asked softly. The officer pulled out his gun. "Step away now." Mrs. Johnson came outside and saw what was happening. "What's going on?" she asked. The taller officer grabbed her arm. "Is this your vehicle?" "It's ours. We're just passing through." But they didn't listen. Within minutes, all four family members were in handcuffs. "You're making a mistake," he said quietly. One officer laughed. "We'll see. Black folks in a fancy car? Something isn't right." Jamal looked at his father. "What do we do?" Mr. Johnson looked at the officer and said just one sentence. "You don't know who I am." But the police didn't care. They pushed him into the back of the car. The small-town jail was old and dirty. The Johnson family sat on cold benches inside a cell. Maya, she had never been in a place like this. Mrs. Johnson held her close. "It's going to be okay," she whispered, though she didn't believe it herself. Jamal was angry. Mr. Johnson sat quietly in the corner. His hands were cuffed behind him. His face was calm. "Why did they arrest us?" Maya asked. "We didn't do anything." Some people don't care about the truth. They care about power. Mr. Johnson answered. Outside the cell, the two officers were laughing. One of them held Mr. Johnson's wallet. He flipped through it and frowned his face. "There's no driver's license in here," he said. "Just a business card." The other officer took the card and read out loud, "Charles A. Johnson, U.S. Federal Judge." His face turned pale. The younger officer blinked. "No way. It's fake." They both looked at the fingerprint scanner. One officer typed in Mr. Johnson's name. "Honorable Charles A. Johnson, United States Federal Court. Clearance top secret." They looked at the screen in silence. "We're in trouble," one of them muttered. But it was too late. Mr. Johnson already knew what they had done. Inside the station, the mood changed quickly. The officers who had been laughing minutes ago now looked scared. The chief of police was called in. He was an elderly man. "Are you telling me you arrested a federal judge and his family? Without a warrant?" One officer tried to defend himself. They looked suspicious. "In an expensive car, black family. That's a crime." Inside the cell, Mr. Johnson sat quietly as the chief walked in. "Judge Johnson," the chief said, "I want to deeply apologize for this mistake." Mr. Johnson didn't smile back. "Is that what you call it? A mistake?" "They didn't know who you were," the chief said. Mr. Johnson stood up. "That's the problem. You only care because of who I am. What if I was just a teacher? Or no one important?" "I saw the greed in their eyes," Mr. Johnson continued. "They thought they found a family to bully. A car to search. Maybe money to take. That's corruption. And that's not a mistake." Mrs. Johnson and the children watched him. He was not just a judge. He was a father. "I want every second of this on record," Mr. Johnson said. "I want your officers suspended. I need answers." The story hit the national news. The video of the arrest, recorded from the station's cameras, went viral. People were angry. Protests grew. Celebrities spoke out. Reporters surrounded the small-town station. The two officers were fired. The chief resigned quietly. Mr. Johnson returned to his courtroom. He didn't wear anger on his face. And the Johnson family finally took their vacation. Like, share, and subscribe.